All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that's totally changing the game for intellectual property, artificial intelligence. We'll look at how it's shaking up corporate strategy and at the same time, throwing some really tough questions at policymakers.
Okay, let's start with a big number because it really sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss. 70%. That's how much time modern AI platforms can slash from the process of patent analysis. We're not talking about a small tweak here. This is a complete game changer for how companies innovate.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll tackle the huge problem of patent data overload. Then, we'll see how AI helps cut through that noise to find what's called white space. After that, things get a little sci-fi. We'll dive into what happens when AI starts inventing things on its own and wrap up with how governments can get ready for that future. All right, first up, the patent data deluge. So why is that 70% number such a huge deal? Well, it's because we're basically drowning in patent data. Trying to sift through it all by hand, it's becoming pretty much impossible. And when I say we're drowning, I mean it. Just look at these numbers. While patent applications for digital tech are already growing 170% faster than average, for AI, that number explodes to over 700%. It's an absolute tidal wave of new ideas and intellectual property. Now, all that data creates some serious risks. If you don't know what's out there, you're not just missing out on opportunities, you could be walking into a legal minefield. As this quote points out, patent lawsuits can cost millions. So, mapping out this landscape ahead of time, it's not just a good idea anymore, it's essential for survival. So, how on earth do you deal with all that complexity? Well, that's where AI comes in. Let's get to the solution. This is all about turning that mountain of raw data into actual usable intelligence. And the jump in technology here is just massive. Think about it. Older tools were basically just keyword matchers. You could easily trick them by just changing a few words. But the new large language model systems, they use something called semantic vectors. It's a fancy way of saying they don't just see the words, they actually get the meaning behind them. They understand the core idea of an invention. And once you can understand meaning, you can do some pretty incredible things. You can search for concepts, not just keywords. The AI can automatically group thousands of similar patents together so you can see the big picture. It can trace the family tree of an idea by looking at citations. And it can even start to predict where technology is heading next just by looking at filing patterns. I mean, this is a level of strategic insight that was just unthinkable for a human team to do on their own. Okay, so this incredible analytical power has a really important real-world use. This is the tutorial part of our guide, how to use this tech to find what we call white space, those untapped areas just waiting for the next big idea. So what exactly is white space analysis? It's not just about checking if your idea has been done before. No, it's way more strategic. It's about systematically mapping out an entire field of technology to find the gaps, to find what hasn't been invented yet. And those gaps, that's where you want to point your research and development budget. So how do you actually do it? Well, there's a pretty clear 5-step playbook. First, you've got to know what you're looking for, define your goals. Then you build out your search plan. Step 3 is all about gathering and cleaning up the data. Then comes the magic in step 4, where the AI analyzes everything and finds the patterns. And finally, you take all those juicy insights and turn them into a real plan for your teams. And when you follow this process, the payoff is huge. You're not just dodging expensive lawsuits. More importantly, you're getting a crystal clear map showing you exactly where to innovate next, where your ideas will make the biggest splash and be the most protectable. But, as AI gets better and better at finding innovations, it leads to a much deeper, more complicated question. What happens when the AI isn't just a tool, but becomes the inventor itself? And this is where we shift gears a bit, from a tutorial for companies to a strategic guide for policymakers. Okay, first things first, it's really important to understand that not all AI invention is the same. There's a whole spectrum. On one end, you have AI-assisted invention. Think of AI as just a really advanced tool, like a superpowered calculator. In the middle, AI is a key part of the invention. And then on the far end, you have AI-generated invention, where the AI comes up with the idea all on its own, with no real human input. Which brings us to the million-dollar question, or maybe trillion-dollar question. Can an AI legally be an inventor? This is the huge legal and even philosophical puzzle that patent offices all over the world are wrestling with right now, and how we answer it is going to define the future of innovation. And believe me, this isn't just some academic thought experiment. A real case, the Dabas case, actually tried to name an AI system as the inventor on patent applications for things like a food container. It set off legal fireworks around the globe, with different countries coming to different conclusions. It's forcing everyone to ask, what does the word inventor even mean anymore? So this leads us to the most critical part of this guide for policymakers. How do you prepare for a future that's coming faster than we think? A future where AIs are inventing things. We need real, actionable frameworks, and we need them now. And here's the fundamental problem policymakers are facing. You've got the status quo on one side, our current laws, which were written way before anyone was thinking about AI, say an inventor has to be human. But on the other side, you have this future challenge. Does that old rule still make sense? Does it still encourage the kind of innovation that benefits everyone, which is the whole point of the patent system in the first place?
So, what are the options on the table? Well, the World Intellectual Property Organization has laid out 4 main paths. You can stick with the status quo. Only humans can be inventors, period. You could change the law to allow an AI to be named as an inventor. A third option is to require a human or a company to act as a legal proxy for the AI. Or, and this is the most radical option, you could create a whole new category of IP law from scratch, a sui generis law, as they call it, just for AI inventions.
Now, picking one of these isn't something you can do overnight. The recommended path forward is careful and methodical. It's a 3-step process. First, you have to inquire. Talk to everyone involved, get all the perspectives. Second, analyze. Weigh each option against your country's own economic and social goals. And only then, third, do you act, crafting a solution that actually supports the whole reason we have patents to begin with.
And the key takeaway here is this: doing nothing is still a choice. And given how fast AI is moving, it's probably a really dangerous one. If we don't get the legal groundwork in place soon, we could be looking at some major economic chaos and a lot of problems we never saw coming. So that leaves us with one last big question to think about. The whole point of the patent system has always been to strike a balance between rewarding an inventor and benefiting the public. But what happens when AI can automate invention itself? How do we change our laws to keep encouraging new ideas while making sure that the benefits of those ideas don't just end up in the hands of the very few who own the AI?